Well, it's changed a great deal, as has as we all know, the entire news business. I mean, it's a night and day proposition. I think the biggest thing has been the simple fact that, and not to blame the internet, that's not the intent, but with the advent of the internet and what it provides, with the advent of iPods and things where people who are younger than me, who grow up with that or with handheld devices, they get all their entertainment from those handheld devices. So you're not going to a radio station to get information or music even. It used to be you might go to the station to listen to music and just kind of get the news on the side. Well, what's the incentive for you or someone else to go listen to a radio station unless there's some particular thing you want to hear? Consequently, radio has really not dried up. It's still very healthy in many niches, but the broad base of radio that it was is gone. The AP has dropped doing radio for the most part. Sports-wise, we don't do sportscasts anymore. We used to do twice an hour. I'd do 50 shows a week. And again, there were 1,000 stations when I first started. Just the economy of the world and the way things are, that's gone down to, I'm not even sure, a couple, 300 stations. Still substantial, but not what it once was. No one's fault. It's just the marketplace we're in these days. Radio doesn't hold the candle that it used to. Now, we still have newscasters, people who do news. We still cover sports news. I mean, a big part of my job is we will assign guys to cover games, freelancers in local markets, pay them X amount of money. They feed the tape in by email, and then we process that to our affiliates. Or we still do cover the major events in our office, the Super Bowl, the World Series, things like that. Reduction in staff, has happened everywhere, not just the AP. You've got people who are now not doing one job. We were just discussing recently, the job for me can be at times 3 jobs at the same time. I might sit down assigned to be the broadcast writer, which I start doing, but then if a story breaks that's got national importance to it, then I've got to do radio. I've got to track down tape. I've got to be able to get the story covered for the radio network. Conversely, if there's no one in for video, I've got to go and produce a Final Cut Pro video on what's going on that particular story. So the old saying, you can't treat an old horse or whatever, new tricks, old dog, new tricks. Well, I'm the old dog. I mean, just in the last few years, the AP, to its credit, trained a lot of us who've been there for many years in Final Cut Pro. So a big part of our job now is Final Cut and producing sports videos. And the AP they just released this just recently, had its 1 billionth hit on YouTube. And again, that just speaks for how much, as you well know, traffic is going on out there on the internet. And this is a realm that is got to be touched yet, and really, how do you make money on it? And that's what's a lot of people are scratching their heads on. How do they make money off of the internet? Because they're all in it for a business. That's the reason you open up shop. So it's changed a great deal, but then again, all business has, not just media, but the AP, whether it be AP or used to be a lot of radio networks out there that are all gone. It's just the ebb and flow. But I mean, if we go back to the history of print newspapers and linotype setting and things that were being done 100 years ago, those folks lost their jobs at some point. So yeah, it's a different world, and it's yours. I mean, I know some guys I work with who were gun shy and didn't want to learn it, but knew they had to. I've been of the type that always enjoyed the gadgets and the technology and computers, so I didn't have any real problem with it. But yeah, you've got to keep learning. If you don't, I mean, then they would rightfully say goodbye. And I really couldn't fault them if they, you don't want to learn this. This is where the company's going. You're not needed here any longer. Hard to argue with that. I mean, I work for them, not vice versa. So they trained us in this, and now I think I've become pretty darn efficient in it, actually. So, like everybody again, the AP, as the digital world came upon us, knew they had to get into it, and they weren't quite sure how. Podcast became a very trendy thing, if you will, maybe 7, 8 years ago. So we jumped into it, and I did one on basketball and then one on NASCAR. And yeah, I'd never heard of the Webbies before, but apparently the Webbies are a legitimate award that's out there, and the AP won some awards with these things. That's good. But the podcasts are now gone, and they have been for a while. And again, the bottom line is monetarily. There was no revenue being produced. Can you take the resources being put into the podcast to put it into Final Cut and cutting videos? And that's what they did. And again, I can't fault that. I would have liked to have seen perhaps if there'd been more potential to sell these things to make some revenue. But one thing about the AP you have to understand is it's a cooperative. It's owned by its member newspapers, TV, radio stations. And it's not a moneymaker being a cooperative. So you just can't go out and sell advertising like an ABC or ESPN might. They have since, in these last few years, come to ways of realizing they have to get some revenue besides the old way. So they're doing barters now. So they'll work deals out with AP's got deals with Microsoft and a lot of people. But the podcasts have gone by the wayside.